Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Ray, and welcome back to my Sims 4 channel. Today we are going to be building a tiny home community for elders. So we are building in the world of San Sequoia today that came with the Growing Together expansion pack, and basically my idea behind this build is that these were originally abandoned containers, so we did end up using the wallpapers from Eco Lifestyle, and the reason I wanted to do that was because there just wasn't a lot of really bright, colorful wallpapers that I could blend in with the world around this lot. San Sequoia has a lot of really bright, colorful facades around the world, and I really wanted to just make sure that I tied this lot in together with those facades. And we just don't have a lot of really colorful wallpapers that are good for exteriors, but the ones from Eco Lifestyle are really bright and really cool, so I decided to make these into container homes because honestly the shape fit that right off the bat, so it was perfect. So I thought maybe at one point someone wanted to build a restaurant or something like that by the water, and it just didn't work out, so these containers ended up sitting here for ages, and finally the city decided to convert it into housing for elderly Sims. Now, I did imagine that these homes were more geared toward elderly women, so whether they were widowed or they were just single, for whatever reason they are by themselves and they needed to move into housing that was super easy to take care of, or I had imagined that the city was more so responsible for taking care of this lot, so maintaining the landscaping and making sure that everybody had what they needed, that sort of thing. But the plan was to make little tiny houses for little tiny grandmas that really needed simple housing that they didn't have to take care of, so that way they'd be living in a home that took care of all of their needs and kept their more physical responsibilities relatively low. So as you can see, we have yellow, blue, and green houses here, and I did write down who I had in mind that were living in each one of these little tiny homes. So the yellow house is basically the home of your typical crazy grandma, okay? So she loves color and really fun decor. She knits, she does crafting. She is absolutely wild about her grandkids. She's the kind of Sim that I imagine wears really bright, colorful clothing and a lot of really fun hats. So I think you'll kind of get the idea of what I was going for when I start to work on her house. And for the blue, that's just the home of a quiet lady who loves cats. So she does have a cat bowl and a cat tree in her home. The green house is for a music lover slash dog lover, which was actually inspired by my grandmother. Not so much when it comes to the decor, but my grandmother is actually a musician and she loves dogs too, so that was kind of where I got the inspiration from when it comes to that. And finally, the orange home was decorated by my mother. So I really like to show my mom my builds as I make them, and she really enjoys looking at them and giving me feedback on them. And so I showed her this little community and she loved it so much that she wanted to pick one of the houses to decorate herself. Now, my mother has never played The Sims 4 before. The Sims 4 before, that was quite the mouthful, but she has never played the game before, so this was her first time furnishing anything. I helped her through the whole process and I'm really looking forward to showing it to you guys. I did record the whole thing and it was very interesting to say the least. The cool thing about my mom decorating her house was that she just used a whole bunch of items that I wouldn't have thought to use because they're older now. So she used like some base game curtains and base game blinds and just a bunch of interesting things from packs that I just don't really use much from anymore. And I don't know, it's just really cool to see the game through a fresh pair of eyes that have never played before. And it actually really inspired me to go back into a couple of the tiny homes that I had already furnished and do a couple of different things that I wouldn't have thought to. But we'll talk more about that when we get to it. Right now we're just going through and adding some windows. I ended up using the ones from cats and dogs. This lot in particular was really important to me. So originally I wanted to have 6 houses on this lot, but unfortunately I just couldn't fit them all in. I wanted these houses to be much smaller, but the problem was they just couldn't be much smaller than this without being unrealistic for elderly people. I really wanted to make sure that the houses stayed all one level and had very big bathrooms, very spacious bathrooms with a tub, just all of the essentials that you would imagine an elderly person would need. I really didn't want to go in and do all of the typical tiny home things. Like, I could have went in and made the bathrooms super tiny tiny. I could have made the bedroom super squishy, but that just wouldn't have been realistic. I wanted to make sure that these tiny homes were very easy to get around and navigate for an elderly person. So I could have switched lots to make sure that I could get 6, but I just thought this one in particular was so perfect. I know a lot of elderly people, once they're retired, like to move to, like Florida or something like that. And I thought, what could be more perfect than this lot? So this little tiny home community turned out to look really fun. I love the seaside view. I think we're by the sea. I've actually never explored this world outside of this lot. If I'm being perfectly honest, you guys know, okay? I really just don't get out of build mode very often, and right now I've been working on so many new crest things, and I've also been working in Forgotten Hollow too. Those builds will be coming out shortly. I don't know when, but probably this week or next week. I did renovate Vlad's entire mansion, which I'm super excited to share with you guys, but I just haven't really been able to explore some of the worlds that came with these more recent packs. I think my little puppy dog light needs to be charged again. He was really bright when I started this video, and now I think he's going out. Poor little puppy. Anyway, so basically worlds like San Sequoia and what was the one that came with Horse Ranch? I don't know, but I haven't been able to explore those worlds at all. I've just been so busy working on other things in this game. So this is the first lot that I've seen in this world, and I'm looking forward to exploring the other lots in this world though, because it's very beautiful. In real life, I would not want to live in a place like this. It would probably be way too warm for me. I would actually really like to live in Forgotten Hollow. That is where I want to live. And it's not just because of Vlad, okay? Listen, I have a crush on Vlad. Now, I know that sounds crazy. I know it does, but hear me out. I have a crush on the version of Vlad that I have in my head, okay? And it's not anything like the one that comes with the game. I'm actually gonna go into cast sometime soon and give him a whole makeover and just make him into the sim that I am convinced is the love of my life, okay? I want to marry a vampire in this game, so I'm going to give Vlad that makeover, and we're probably gonna get married, and I'm going to take over the house that I have renovated for him and we're gonna live there together, and we're gonna be really super happy forever and ever. I am aware that this is a super weird conversation to be having for this particular speed build, but hello, I am still me, and I still have to talk about the things that bring me joy, like vampires. And Vlad, of course. But we are working on the yellow house right now, and we do change this up quite a bit in the end, because while I do like this house, it was looking a little too stylish in my opinion. This granny is just kind of crazy. She's kind of kooky, and she just likes what she likes. She likes bright, fun colors, but this was just looking a little too stylish. I needed to tone that down a little bit, so we end up swapping out this chair and love seat from Nifty Knitting to something. I think I just ended up using 2 like light beige chairs, and then what else did we swap out? I think we swapped out the curtains. I used some base game curtains that my mom was originally going to use, but she changed her mind and picked a different one. But what I picked in the end was definitely giving granny chic, so I'm happy with the changes that I made. I also changed up the plants. I just wanted it to look a little bit more like an elderly person was living here. This was looking a little bit too young for my liking. So when my mom went in and did her tiny house, she just really inspired me to go in and give a chance to some items that I really haven't been using for a long time. But oh my gosh, you guys, I definitely want to do a let's play on one lot like this. So whether it be this place or my tiny trailer park, I don't know which one, but I want to do a let's play based on one of those. I just think the idea of doing a let's play all on one lot is so cool and fun, like running it as if it is almost like a little town. And I think this would make a really interesting concept to just play strictly with elders and their families maybe. Like you could have their grandkids come to visit and things like that, or you could have their actual kids come to visit and maybe they have like a rocky relationship, things like that. Also like the interactions between neighbors, like, you know, maybe the lady in the blue house is a little standoffish and she doesn't really get along with the other ladies in the other homes. And maybe the lady in the yellow house, maybe she's a little bit snoopy, you know, like maybe she likes a little bit of gossip, you know. I just think that would be a really cute idea, and I never get to play with elders. I never really get to play the game at all now that I just do building all the time. I used to play a little bit of Rags to Riches, but to be perfectly honest, I just don't have the time for it anymore. Now that I'm trying to maintain this channel and I've been having such a blast with it, I just want everything to be for this channel because I love it so much and care about it so much, and I've been having such a blast with it. Speaking of having a blast though, you should really go down into the description and check the link to my Discord server. I just created my Discord about a week ago, and I think we have about 30 members right now, 30-ish, and it's been so much fun over there. You guys will absolutely love it if you haven't joined already. I have such an amazing group on that server. Everyone is so fun and so lovely and so kind and supportive, and you're just gonna love hanging out with them. And you know, maybe me. It is the kind of invite that doesn't expire, so you can join whenever you want, and it will be in the description of all of my videos from now on. I'd love to have you there. We talk about all sorts of different things, but especially The Sims, obviously, and you can get a lot of sneak peeks into what I've been working on way before I release the videos. For example, I've been sharing screenshots in my Discord server of this build up until I was finished. I just love sharing screenshots of what I'm working on so you guys can get a little bit of a peek before the video is ready. So if you're interested in stuff like that, definitely go check it out. But I just absolutely love building tiny homes, especially because I've been working on a lot of really big builds lately, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger, and I'm not super comfortable building big houses. I think it's easier to renovate big houses that are already in the game than it is to build them from scratch, at least for me. Sometimes they get really complicated towards the end where you've done like the interior and you need to work on the exterior. I tend to work on a little bit of the exterior and then go inside the build, finish that, and then I'm stuck with the exterior. And I don't know why I do it that way, because let me tell you, when you're renovating houses, doing it that way is an absolute freaking nightmare. It's horrible. I did that with Vlad's house, and I had to end up adding, I think, 2-3 extra rooms to the 3rd level just to make it roofable. That turned out to be an absolute disaster, but I did record all of it, so you'll be able to see some of it. Actually, that's a lie. I think I ended up doing some of it off camera because I was so frustrated that I was afraid I would end up recording for like an hour or so, and it would just be of like nothing because I was having such a hard time. So I would just like delete things, add things, delete things again. Absolute nightmare. So I think a little bit of it wasn't recorded, but you'll see most of it. I'm really excited about that build, if you can't tell already, because I feel like every 5 seconds I'm talking about it. But let's get back to this build. I do love tiny homes. They're so much fun. This is definitely a little bit bigger than I usually build when it comes to tiny homes. Like I said, that was just kind of a casualty of making sure that they were more realistic for elderly folks. And so some of these Sims in their homes, they all kind of have the same layout. Their furniture is kind of arranged the same. I tried to do a little bit different with each house, but it's all pretty similar. There's only so much that you can do with the space, but I tried to make each house a little bit different. And so some of them have outdoor seating and more furniture inside, more of a living area, and some of them have a little bit smaller of a living area, and then I ended up giving them a dining table instead, which I thought was kind of cool. But everybody has their own dining. It's just some are inside and some are outside. But this is the blue house, and I think the blue house, aside from my mom's, is my favorite because I wanted to go for a very like coastal vibe, and I really like blue. It's not like a favorite color of mine. Well, I think it's a favorite color. It's not my absolute favorite anymore, but I do really like light blue. So I really wanted to go with a lot of light blue and like wood tones and of course whites. So I think it turned out really cool. I also got to use this wallpaper in everybody's tiny homes. This is from Cool Kitchen. Not Cool Kitchen, oh my gosh, that's the old one. Home Chef Hustle. I always get those two mixed up now, but the Home Chef Hustle is a stuff pack, right? Yeah, I think it's a stuff pack. I think it has too many items to be a kit, correct? Oh my gosh, I have so much trouble keeping my kits and stuff packs straight now. But that tile is from Home Chef Hustle. And then this other wallpaper is from, I believe, For Rent. And I really liked that wallpaper because I do think it looks a little bit dated. So it worked really well for these. I know that these houses are not supposed to be dated, but I wanted to make sure that the interior seemed comfortable for elderly grannies. Some of them are grannies, some of them might not be grannies. Some of the ladies living here might be really wild, swinging single type ladies. So, you know, I'm thinking they all have really different personalities, and I think it'd be really fun to do a video where I worked on creating the Sims that I think live here, or maybe do a live stream. Oh my gosh, you guys, I keep talking about doing live streams and I just don't do it. I'm so sorry. The thing is, I think I'm just intimidated because I have to figure out Twitch all on my lonesome. I say that, but now I do have my Discord server with a lot of really brilliant people in there who know what they're doing when it comes to Twitch and Discord, so I shouldn't say that I'm all on my lonesome anymore. I definitely have a really cool group of helpful people, so that's nice, but I definitely have to set up the accounts and I have to go in there and set up all my settings by myself. I will have help, but it's still going to be a little bit of a struggle, so I don't know. I'm intimidated by it. I'm intimidated by it, but I think it would be really fun to do live streaming. The other thing is I hope my internet can handle it. I have pretty good internet, but I've heard that just like anybody without Ethernet can really struggle with streaming, so I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens. I've also been talking in my Discord server. Some of the members had the idea for me to do a Halloween live stream because I really want to get a costume this year for Halloween. I don't dress up for Halloween anymore, which really stinks because I love to dress up and I really want to dress up as Morticia Addams this year. I just think that would be so cool and so Instagram worthy. So but I don't have any reason to actually dress up because I don't go anywhere. I don't go to parties. I don't really give out candy or anything like that. So like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna justify getting a costume? So basically everybody in the Discord server was like, you should take pictures for Instagram and you should have a Halloween live stream. So I definitely need to get my butt in gear and figure that out before Halloween because I know Halloween seems so far away right now, unfortunately, but what's crazy is it will be here before we know it. Like, isn't it crazy to imagine that Christmas is basically right around the corner? Like, before you know it, it'll be Christmas again, and I feel like it was just Christmas. So that is insane. Time is passing by so quickly, and time is like, okay, I was about to say time is the one thing that gives me anxiety. That is not true. I get anxiety over everything, but time is like the top of my anxiety list. Time drives me insane. It just makes me so anxious to think about how quickly time passes by, and it makes me spiral out of control, y'all. And I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. I'm gonna take it, put it back where I found it, because I don't need that anxious energy today. I'm not for it. So let's talk about the build again. Okay, we are working on the greenhouse now. I love calling it the greenhouse because it makes me think of plants, but there's not really a lot of plants in this house. That would have been kind of a cute idea if I made like a gardener sim that lived in the greenhouse. Why am I just now thinking of that? Dang it. Maybe we'll have to change this. Maybe this will become but I can't change it because it's inspired by my grandmother. I don't know what to do now. But that would be so cute if she was a gardening sim and she lived in the greenhouse. That's adorable. I love that idea. I might have to make a new build just for that. Just do a whole new build. It's a greenhouse exterior for a grandma gardening sim. That's cute. That is so cute. I love sitting here and watching these things back because, yeah, I didn't think of that idea while I was building, but it's okay because I thought of it now, and that gives me an idea for another video, and then you guys get more content out of it. Hopefully that's a good thing though. Hopefully you guys aren't tired of me. But okay, we are on to the orange house now, which is the home that my mom decorated. So if this looks a little bit weird, it is because it's been sped up like 3 times what I normally do because it took us a long time to furnish this place, let me tell you. Because sometimes we'll go through and we will pick out an item so quickly. We'll look at the first swatch and we'll be like, I like that one, we'll keep that one. And then she'll have like one random item that she has to look through every single swatch. I didn't fully understand why, like we needed to look at only one swatch of the chair, but we had to look through all the swatches of the pet bowls. I don't know, but that was her process behind it. So I'm not complaining. It was really fun to put this house together and help her out and show her all of the things that are in this game. So some of the things I helped her with, like I ended up placing most of the furniture furniture the way she wanted it. And then she kind of just went through and told me, okay, I want this, this, and this. And then I would find it for her. And then I would show her how to navigate through all of the swatches. By the time that we had finished this build, she was an expert on how to navigate the swatches, okay? She was doing it all on her own. I was so proud of her. But it was so much fun to do this with my mom because she's never played this game, as I mentioned, and it's just so fun to share something you love so much with somebody you love so much, and we just had a blast. One of the things that we've been talking about doing is recording us building our old apartment. So when I was like a baby to like 8 years old, we lived in a really small apartment and it was super cute, and we're thinking about building it based off of our memory. And again, that was a long time ago, so who knows what it'll turn out like, but we want to do it before we forget any more of what it was like. And actually, this was so cute. So I know my mom pretty well, and I knew she was going to pick the orange house, and she said this wasn't the reason why she picked it, but I think it kind of was, and she just doesn't know it. Basically, the back bedroom is the exact same color as our kitchen in that apartment. So I'm like, I bet you my mom, she doesn't even realize it, but I bet you that's why she liked it, because it was the color of our old kitchen. But this house ends up being pretty darn fun. She used a lot of red and orange, and she eventually ends up throwing blue into the mix, which I was like, whoa, like blue? Are you sure? And she's like, yes, I'm sure. She ended up picking some blue blinds that I don't think I have ever used in this game, like ever, not even one time. They're just like base game blinds, but I don't know, somehow it works. Don't ask me how, but somehow all of these colors look good together. I don't know how she managed that, but I like it. Maybe I'm being biased because she is my mama. I mean, I always tease her that she has mom goggles on when she looks at me and the things that I do. Maybe I've got daughter goggles here, but this is probably my favorite tiny home out of them all. I just think it looks really cool and lived in, and just, again, the fact that she used so many items that I just wouldn't have thought to pick, so freaking cool, and it makes the house look so much different from the other three that I did, because watching her go through and decorate her house made me realize how even though I tried for each house to be different, you can definitely tell that I have a style when it comes to building, and that made me want to experiment a little bit and do things a little bit differently. So like I mentioned, I do go back to the other houses and just adding a couple of different things that I normally wouldn't have thought to use. I know I've said that like a million times already. I am so sorry. I don't know why, but I am struggling to record this video today. I think it's like I don't really have anything going on in my life, so normally I bring topics in here to talk about, and I just don't really have those today. Literally nothing has been happening in my life. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I am quite the introvert, so sometimes if there's too much going on in my life, I get super overwhelmed. It's hot. I stay inside all summer to try to stay cool, and there's nothing to do. I don't want to leave the house. So I don't know. There's just nothing going on in my life right now. There's nothing interesting to report on. So I don't know what to talk about in this video. So how are you guys doing? Are you guys having a good summer so far? Hopefully you guys are having a better summer than me, because I am freaking miserable. I'm actually roasting right now trying to do this video, so that doesn't help at all either. But let me tell you, I am so looking forward to fall. So my birthday is in the fall. It's October 2nd, which is always great because who doesn't love getting a iced pumpkin spice latte on their birthday? I know I do. So I'm very much looking forward to that. The thing is, I don't really know where I'm gonna go to get my iced pumpkin spice latte this year, because Dunkin' has not been it lately, man. Not at all. I remember like pre-COVID, Dunkin' came out with so many fun flavors of iced coffee, and it was so exciting to go and try all of the new ones. But lately, I feel like, what did they do? Like fire their creative team or something? Fire the people who are coming up with the ideas for new flavors of coffee, because they've had nothing. I see constantly commercials for refreshers, which I just don't really care about. Coffee is definitely more my choice of beverage. So I don't know why they keep advertising that and no coffee. Like, come on, Dunkin'. Step up your game, okay? Dunkin' used to have so many good flavors. My favorite that they had was the Girl Scouts Thin Mints. I love Thin Mint cookies so freaking much. Actually, this is not Thin Mints, but I have cookies and cream ice cream downstairs, and I am so hot right now. You bet that I'm gonna go down and have a big bowl of ice cream after recording this video because that sounds so good. But anyway, they would have Thin Mints ice cream. They would have Thin Mints iced coffee, and that was so good. I think that one and butter pecan, those were my favorite flavors. So delicious. And I remember one year for Easter they had Peeps. That was really good. Oh, good times, good times. I wish Dunkin' would bring back the interesting flavors. Now all they have is like vanilla and caramel, which, I mean, they're good, but I like to try the new stuff. I always like to try iced coffee wherever I go. And so that's like something I do. Like if I go to Chick-fil-A, I try their iced coffee. If I go to Wendy's, I try their iced coffee. And if there's a cafe, I try their iced coffee there. It's just something fun that I do. And so Dunkin' I really want to go back. But they're not really working with me here. They're not giving me anything interesting enough for me to go back to Dunkin', especially because now I do have a really good local cafe that I go to, and I really do like to support local. They're a little bit pricey, which is why I don't always go there. I can't always afford it. It's more of a treat-like thing, but it's so worth the money. Everyone there is so sweet, and their coffee is just top notch. And they are actually doing so much better when it comes to introducing new like seasonal flavors and stuff. So I guess I just need to start making myself a little more money, or being better with my money right now, spending a little less and making sure I can go to the local cafe instead of Dunkin'. I feel like me and Dunkin' broke up. I really do, because we had, let me tell you, during COVID, we were close. Like we spent every day together. I loved Dunkin'. It was the highlight of my life. But as you can see, this is where we're just going back in and redoing a little bit of these other houses, putting up some different curtains and making it look a little more old lady chic in here. I don't know what else to call it, but I do know that I am super satisfied with all of these houses. And I was so frustrated with the yellow house in the beginning, so I'm glad that I'm satisfied with them now. There's so many times where I make a build that I'm just like, no, I don't like it, but here it is anyway. This build I like. I'm very proud of this build. It was so much fun to make, and just something different, something refreshing, you know, because so many times I build things with Sims in mind that are kind of like me, you know, like single, and I was about to say ready to mingle, but that's not me. I'm not really ready to mingle right now. Sorry. I mean, well, maybe. It depends, you know. But anyway, I tend to build houses for people like me, you know, single ladies, because that's what I know. So building something different, or, you know, Gothic homes, I've built a lot of those recently, and I've renovated them. But this was just something so different that I was totally into it. And you'll see here pretty soon that the landscaping is really different from what I normally do as well. I got to use a lot more tropical type of items, which is really cool because I don't use those. Some of these, like the palm trees and stuff, I just don't get to use those very often. There were some items in here when it came to plants that I don't think I've ever used in a build before. It's kind of like I got a new pack in a way, and I was like playing with new items because I just typically don't build in the worlds that would require those type of plants. But I don't know, that's just so refreshing, and it makes me feel really good about what I'm working on, because I really don't like to feel like I'm building the same thing over and over again. Like, I don't want to bore you guys, and I also don't want to get stuck in a rut, you know, like I want to incorporate some things that are just different enough that I can still be a little bit more creative, you know what I mean? But pretty soon we should be moving on to the yellow house just to change that up a little bit. You will notice that it's kind of like an abrupt cut. That's because it took me so long to figure out what chairs I wanted to use for her house. But here is the updated curtains and the chairs. We use these chairs from Cats and Dogs, I think, or Cats and Dogs, and the other one is from Growing Together, I believe. They match together really well, which I was super satisfied with, but we changed the rug, we changed the curtains, and we give her some more dated looking plants. Like, I wanted to make them look a little more outdated than what I had originally had here, and just make things look a little less stylish. That is what I was going for, and I really liked how it turned out. It looked so much better than what I had originally had here. I was saying something before that. I don't, for the life of me, remember what it was though, so I apologize. You probably don't know where that sentence was going, and I don't either now. Oh my gosh, you guys. I wish my brain would work with me a little bit, you know, it really struggles. My brain struggles to keep up sometimes, that's for sure. I have so many thoughts and I just can't like articulate them fast enough, you know, before I get distracted, before the ADHD kicks in, but Oh well. This is the landscaping, which I had a lot of fun with. Again, a bunch of different items that I normally just don't use. I did something really cool. I actually went to the gallery and grabbed a room full of plants. So these are like fruit trees and things like that, and I just placed them around to kind of use them as decor, but it also just gave the elders something else to do in addition to everything else. I did also give them some empty planter boxes so that way they could actually plant and grow things if they want to. But what else did we do? I added some other activities in here. I did add a birdhouse, but you can't actually access it because the pond is in the way. And what else did I have back there? I think I put another fruit tree, but they were just more for decor, just more for the vibes. But I also added, what was the other thing? Oh yeah, I added a chess table. We don't add that yet, but I had originally just had like a regular table, and I thought, why would I not add the chess table? That is perfect for this build. It gives them a little something to do. I do wish that I would have added in a clothesline somewhere. I don't know where I would have fit it in, but I think it would have been really cute. And I did give them all washer dryers, so that would have been super nice if they just had a place to dry their clothes. If they didn't feel like using their dryer and they just wanted to be outside, that would have been nice. But you know, you can't add everything that you want to add to a build like this when you're working with a smaller lot. After a while, I had so many ideas, but there just wasn't enough space to execute all of them. So unfortunately, after a while, you just gotta find a stopping point where you're like, okay, I'm satisfied with what I have right now. So that was kind of what happened with that. I did go around and add hedges all around this lot. And listen, I've been adding hedges to every build. I should think outside the box a little bit more when it comes to landscaping, but I just really like the way hedges look. They look so nice and clean, and I imagine that they're somewhat easy to maintain. You just have to trim them, right? I mean, I don't know anything about gardening, so I could be wrong. Maybe they're like the hardest thing in the world to maintain. I have no clue. All I know is that I see people like trimming hedges with like those big I was about to say kitchen shears. That is not right. They are, shoot, they look like those big things that, you guys might not know this reference. Some of you might. They look like those big things that Brutus the Barber Beefcake used to run around with. Are they hedge trimmers? Is that literally what they're just called hedge trimmers? I swear, if that's what they're called, I'm gonna be so ticked. I'm gonna look it up. Hedge trimmers. Okay, no, that's not what I thought. Hedge scissors. They're not called hedge scissors. Hedge shears. What does it matter? How did this happen? I always end up going off on some sort of weird tangent that doesn't make any sense. Like how? It's just The Sims. Why am I Googling hedge trimmers? And like, I could have just like texted my mom. I could have just asked her. She would know. Jeez Louise. Anyway, I put hedges around this entire lot because I think they look nice. I'm so weird. I'm so sorry about that. Anyway, this has been a weird video for me, so I'm just gonna go now because we are coming up on the screenshots. So I hope you enjoyed this build. If you want to make some elders to live in this house, definitely show them to me. You can show them to me on my Discord, or you can show them to me on Instagram. I am on Instagram at RaellySims. I am also on Twitter at RaellySims if you want to follow me. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, you guys. I'm gonna go eat some ice cream. If you have some ice cream, please eat some with me so I don't feel lonely. If it's summer where you are right now, please stay cool. And if it's winter or fall where you are, I'm extremely jealous, and please bring that weather over here because I would really love some nice, cool, crisp air at this particular moment. But I'm gonna stop babbling. I love you all so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.